So to wrap up our final session for this morning, we have two middle school teachers from Des Moines, Harding, I believe, and that's Randy Lines and Rob Hruby. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to them.
All right. If you would, up here, you need to go to nearpod.com to follow along with us. The PIN code for you to enter is right there, NWISX. I'll give you a couple of minutes to get onto that. All right. It's telling me that I've had 30 people join, and if I want to have more join, then I need to upgrade it. That's not happening today. So if you want to look on with somebody by you, you can go ahead and get started. So what we are focusing on today is we are talking about using playlists in your classroom, how to use playlists and rotations, and then how to monitor student learning from those playlists. The way that we got started on this is because we're part of a group in Des Moines called the Trailblazers, and pretty much the idea behind that is how to incorporate technology into your classroom to further student learning. And if you really like learning targets, we put a learning target down there. Create a blend space and go formative to be utilized in your classroom. So just get an idea. Where do you teach? So what district, what building, and then what grade level content area. All right, we're about 75%. I'm going to go ahead and move on here. So do you know what a playlist is? Just either you don't have an answer, maybe, we'll see here pretty quick. Yes, absolutely, or nope, not a clue. So we got a lot of people who are kind of in that boat of they think they might know, but they're really not too sure. But we do also have a lot of people who, yes, absolutely do, so that is awesome to see. So playlists are pretty much groups of images, text, videos, activities that are purposely picked out for a topic. We both teach 7th grade science, so we do life science, we do physical science, we do chemistry, but it's more of just a broad overview rather than digging really deep in like a lot of the high school teachers do. We picked playlists for our classroom because we had a goal to create more autonomy and to give students more of a choice in the way that they want to learn. Where's it going with that? So they can choose if they want to learn that day by watching a video, they can watch a video. If they want to learn by playing a game that day, they play a game. If they're one of those kids who actually learns really well by reading and answering questions, those options are available there for them. So it's not just taking every student and fitting them into the same lesson. We're trying to adapt it for their learning style. When we first started out, this is an example of a playlist that we created. We did this for rocks, so we did types of rocks, the rock cycle, and volcanoes. And when we first started doing this, we just had them actually do every single one of those things, mostly so that they could get used to clicking on the links, going through the process of learning from the online material, and then not really responding to it, but just kind of absorbing it in. What we found out when we did it like this is, number one, this took a really long time, like too long to make, okay? Because you'd have to go find the resource, you'd have to come back, you'd have to hyperlink it. We had to do that, 16 different times, and this is for 1, maybe 2 days. Okay, so this took quite a bit of time. Then we came across a website called TIC.com, and this is what we pretty much use exclusively in our classroom now, in our classrooms now. Instead of having to go out and find the different links and put them onto a separate web page, you can just search directly on there. They have different activities, different readings, different videos available, or you can pull them in from Google, You can pull in images. You can upload things that you have on your computer. Pretty much anything that you would want to use, you can bring into this blend space. So we had developed a solution to give students more choice, but we still need to address factors outside of technology. So how are we going to use this better? We decided that we were going to take this blend space that we created, this playlist, and we were going to use it in rotations within our classroom. So we would have a time where we both have, about 26, 27 kids per class. So we would break them down into 3 groups. And you would have, part of the time, kids would be working on this playlist, going through learning on their own. And then part of the time, they would be doing another activity that, if I think of it, it's more like, the traditional school work. It might be card sort to work on vocabulary. They could be doing a small lab by themselves. And then another part of the time, it was kids working with the teacher at the front of the room so that they can better understand the content. In your own classroom, what are some different activities you could use in rotations? This is more of a question for us, because we always like to get better ideas of things that we can use. All right, so some of these ones that you guys have submitted, all really good ideas. There's just a couple of them that people have put out. These are some of the resources that we've used. So Weebly, that's what we did the original playlist on, if you want to go and make a Weebly playlist. TES.com/blendspace. That is what we use now, like I said, and that's what we're actually going to have you create here in just a second, create one of these playlists. And then Go Formative, Randy is going to be talking about after we give you a little bit of time to work. So I'm not exactly sure how this works. If this just, go ahead and click on that where it says click to open up a web page. And for this is the TES site. This is where you can create a playlist. So what I want everybody to do, if you already have an account, awesome. Like this guy over here has an account. If you don't have an account, go ahead and sign up. Create an account up there in the corner.
Another option that you could do is we have created like a test account if you wanted to go on before you created your own and look at what we've put together. Graded at 7th grade science, but we have a lot of units on there as well. So just test 515 and then test 515 for the password and username. You can type that in as to log in. And you can see all of what our students have done in 7th grade science and just how we've kind of put them together.
All right, once you actually get your account created, you're going to click up at the top. There's a thing that says Teach with Blendspace. And these are just some examples of ones that we have created, like chemical and physical changes. This is a pretty new one. That we've done. So we have our scales for our unit on there. So if kids click on that, they can see, their learning targets, their learning goals, where they need to be, what the purpose is of why they're here. That's always one of the first things we put on there so they know what they're doing. We have various videos. There's some readings. On this one, there's a lot of interactive things, I guess you could say. That they are big fans of. So our plan for right now was just to give you about probably 10 minutes to start working on a playlist of your own. Think about a topic that you teach. It can be big. It can be used as an overview for an entire topic. It can be focused down on one thing specifically. We actually use these playlists both for kind of pre-teaching, just so kids get an idea of where we're going to be going with things. We use them for reviews at the end so that when they're going back through this stuff, they can pick up some things they may have missed. It helps them remember things that we talked about, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So there are a lot of different applications that you could probably think of. So we're just going to give you about 10 minutes here to work on that on your own.
Give me, do a favor. Go ahead and go back to Nearpod. And we're going to kind of table this discussion here for a second, and then you guys can always go back because it's always there. This is sort of what we have been using in our classroom, and we really, really like it. The problem that we continually kept having was accountability to making sure the students were learning. On TES and on Blend Space, there is like a quiz option, but it's only multiple choice, and we were not a fan of just multiple choice questions. So we were trying to figure out different ways of what could we do to make sure that kids are accountable for what they're learning, and if they did have questions or if they did have misconceptions, we could start to see them as their teacher. We started with using Google Forms, and that was a mess. Because if you ever have a Google form that goes ahead, and then they submit it to you, it's just a big old spreadsheet, and if they're writing long sentences, it was a mess. And then we found another website called goformative.com, and it is one of my favorite things ever. It is a website that you can make any tests and any quiz and any checks. And students have an account, and they are going to be able to give you their answers, and you can give them feedback automatically. Later, you can get their grades. It's been life-changing. So if you go to this website here, you can go ahead and you can either log in and create one of your own, or again, we have a test one, which is right down here. Again, it's still the test 515. And you can see the assessments that we have right now live for our students. I'm pretty sure all of our chemistry tests are still out because we went ahead and we just got done with that unit. So if kids want to retake them, they're still up there for them to retake. GoFormative has a lot of options in creating. So I can go ahead. I'm going to just show you a couple of my favorite features of it up here on the screen. So if we go to the page, this is like what the teacher page is up. And all of these folders are just the quizzes that I have gone ahead and created. So if I go into a unit and look at the assessment itself, I can go ahead and look at the live results. And it's really, there's a little bit of lag, but it's pretty prompt as the students are typing it in or answering, it's being submitted to my computer. This is a multiple choice question, so right away it's graded, and I can tell if this kid has gotten it right or wrong. So this is by question. I can turn off their names so it's not subjective. So I've turned off names before and made comments to kids, and then I have a kid in the back of the room yell at me like, well, why did you write that? And I'm like, I don't know why I'm yelling. I don't know why you're yelling at me, because I just write your answer. Because the message will pop up right away to them saying that whatever I write on them, I think this one says this was a quiz I gave when I was gone. So I was writing comments to them as I was not in the classroom. And then you'll see some of their answers in it's later where they're trying to type to me and write to me, and it's you're not answering the question. Some of the other questions are extended answers. So they're going to go ahead and have to type their answer. And then at that point, you go ahead and you can choose how many points you're going to give it, like a 10 to a 0. You can change this in the settings. I've never done it. I just do right or wrong, or if they're in the middle, sort of. And it will go ahead and give that kid that score on his answer. You can make comments, so then I've made a comment to this kid, he redid his answer down here, and then I could give him full credit for answering the question that was given. What is also sweet about the teacher view is you can then go to see the summary of the whole assessment, and you can see what kids have gotten, which one's right and which one's wrong. And see their score. So if these were all of my kids who took the assessment, And you can see the green means they got it right, the red means they got it wrong. And then their score right by their name to go ahead and quickly score it. And then there's other things you can do with like percentages and all that if you are so data driven that you use your assessment stuff that way. What the kids see is they're going to get on and then they'll click on it and they're going to see a quiz much like the way you put it together. So question 1, you're going to go ahead and answer it. And then you can insert images, like this is an image, this isn't on the question, I just inserted an image, and then they went ahead and answered it. And there was another image down here. Another cool thing about making a test is you can go ahead and make an assessment that is, you can have them draw on it. We had a question on one of our chemistry ones where they had to show their work. And it was like, draw the atom of carbon. And so what they do is they have a blank canvas here, and it looks like a whiteboard with some markers. And they click on it, and they can draw their answer. And then when we get it, we see each picture that they have gone ahead and drawn. So I'll show you one of, you guys can see how awesome my kids are at drawing atoms. Oh, that only has 2 responses. That's not a good one. So what I've done this year is I've given them the option to go ahead and take it either online on this website, all of their tests, or they can go ahead and take it on paper if they're still wanting to do that. It definitely helps with grading because I can get done with my grades on the computer before they walk out the door, and then I only have about half or less than half to grade later on when they are gone and when I take them home. I'm not finding the one that you draw the picture. But it's really cool. You can, and like I said, you can go ahead and also put in readings and pictures, so that way they have to go ahead and read if you have a text block and like you want them to summarize that. You can upload pictures. You can go ahead and do just a canvas, whereas if you do the show your work, you can put a background on the picture and then they can draw on the background for the picture if that's helpful. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys just look at this for a little bit of time, maybe about 5 minutes or so. If you have any questions, feel free to ask Rob or I on these. So yeah, it's all. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Excuse me, if you're going to have them draw it, does it work well on the computer, like if they have a touchpad, or is it? I mean, can they do it from that? Or?
Yeah, if I don't check out iPads in my classroom, they don't have iPads. And I have computers, and they've used it on the computers, and it's not touchscreen. They might complain a little bit, but it's doable.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question. I've done it with computers.
Might not be really a detailed drawing.
No,
But
it's
if you
or
had to draw like an arrow, like
yeah,
connecting something.
like a
that.
food web or something,
Yeah.
where they have to draw the energy or something.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to go ahead and just search it up and look all around. Yeah. I did find, finally, one of my questions that the kids did have to draw, which is up on the board right now. So they had to draw a carbon atom. This is what I get to look at. And if you want to like look closer at the kid, you just go ahead and click on it, and it'll blow it up if you are in the other view. We've also used GoFormative as like a quick exit slip or as a quick just what were you working on today on your playlist, just to make sure that they understood that what they were working on was important and that we needed them to connect to what the learning goal was for the day, just as a quick check of what they learned. And it's really easy to just go through and look at all their answers really quick and see who was on it and who wasn't. Unless you guys have any other questions, we just wanted to share with what we have been using in our classroom and what has been working, even when we don't have one-to-one at our school. We have, him and I, because we are part of the tech group, we have a couple of devices that we've gotten checked out to us. But with a class of 27 and 8 or 9 computers. You really can't do a one-to-one initiative all the time. So we've found ways to get around that and make tech more in our classroom. So yeah.